Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for our next episode of Storm Tech, the tools behind the forecast. Today, we will be talking about Skywarn storm spotters, and this presentation will be led by National Weather Service meteorologist Michael Hill. He will highlight the vital role of Skywarn and the storm spotters when responding to severe weather. This session will explain how everyday citizens can help protect their communities by reporting real-time weather conditions. So today we're going to learn about what to look for, how to report safely, and how to get trained and involved in the storm spotting community. So before we get started, before I introduce our speaker, in a bit more detail, I wanted to let you know that there is an extension publication, which is like the text version of the things that are covered here. And that information can be found on our resources page on the Vortex SE Outreach and Engagement page on the Mississippi Alabama Sea Grant Consortium website. This session is also being recorded and it will be uploaded to the website as well under our webinars tab and in our on our YouTube channel. And the links to the website and the YouTube channel will be in the chat if you want to go ahead and subscribe, because we do quite a few webinars. So if you don't want to miss anything, make sure you click that subscribe button and check in with the website frequently. We post lots of helpful resources and information on upcoming events. So definitely tap into that so that you can stay updated with the work that Vortex SE Outreach and Engagement is doing. Towards the end of this session, we will have a Q&A where you can leave questions in the question and answer box. We will aim to answer all of those questions during the session, but if for some reason we go over and we're unable to get to the question, I will share the answers to those questions in the email that will contain the recording of the video and the extension publication a couple of weeks from this event. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce our speaker, meteorologist Michael Hill. He's from the Jackson Weather Forecasting Office. So a little bit about Michael. He is the warning coordination meteorologist at the National Weather Service in Jackson, Mississippi. He is originally from Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and has always had a passion for weather. Michael received his degree in geosciences and meteorology from Mississippi State University. Michael's weather service career started as an intern meteorologist at the Weather Forecast Office, Caribou. He spent 2.5 years at Caribou before moving to the Weather Forecast Office in New Orleans and Baton Rouge. There, he learned all about IDSS and what it takes to provide effective IDSS for our customers. After 7 years at New Orleans, he was promoted to lead forecast in Memphis in 2020. There, he led the office's IDSS program. He was then promoted to the warning coordination meteorologist at Jackson, Mississippi in August of 2023. And as the WCM, he is responsible for being a liaison for all emergency managers, media, and other partners for the National Weather Service. Okay, so before I pass it over to Michael, I just want to remind you again, any questions that you have, please leave it in the chat. We will get to that. We want to make sure that you leave feeling informed as possible. And Michael, I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to you. I'm sorry, Michael, you're a bit muffled, so we're having a little trouble hearing you. Is Tracy, is it muffled for you at all? It may be me.
I'm not hearing Michael at all, actually.
Not hearing me at all?
Okay, now we hear you.
Okay.
Yep, good.
All right. Cool. So again, Michael Hill, National Weather Service. Uh, we'll do a little. I got spotter training up here, but we're just gonna really have a discussion about weather, what you can do with Skywarn, how you can remain safe, a little safety preparedness, and a few things that I just like to preach to people about severe weather in general. So
Uh-oh, you're muted. Okay.
we're under the Department of Commerce. Good now. All right. Department of Commerce and NOAA and National Weather Service. And our mission is to provide weather, hydrological, climate forecasting warnings for the United States, its territories, adjacent waters, and areas for the protection of life, property, and the enhancement of the national economy. So we have 123 offices all around the United States. Again, like you said, I started in Caribou, then moved to New Orleans, to Memphis, and Jackson. So I've covered the entire state of Mississippi, which makes me really a good fit for the Jackson WCM because I've covered the state head to toe. But there's all of our forecast offices all across the United States, and so we have meteorologists at every single one of these every single one of these offices. They're 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and we never close. So here's the offices that serve Mississippi. Again, Mississippi is served by National Weather Service Memphis in the north, National Weather Service Jackson across the central portions, and most of the southern portions of Mississippi. Mobile has a few counties down here in the southeast corner pocket, and then you have New Orleans covering the coast and very southwest, extreme southwest Mississippi. So these are your offices that cover the state of Mississippi. So we're responsible for 58 counties across 3 states. We actually cover 2 counties in Arkansas, Ashley and Chico, and several parishes in northeast Louisiana. So this is our complete forecast area that the National Weather Service in Jackson covers. So we issue severe watches and warnings, 7-day forecasts. We do river forecast conditions, aviation forecasts for airports, fire weather forecasts. We provide decision support services for local emergency management. So we have 8 to 12 people on duty Monday through Friday, 2 to 3 meteorologists on staff overnight and weekend. And we're open, again, like I said, we're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365. So I always say if we're not open, then something bad happened. But we're always open. We have redundant, we have backup offices, tertiary backups to keep our weather information and warnings and forecasts flowing for you guys out there. So most people only see the tip of the iceberg as far as the National Weather Service is concerned. You see stuff on TV, radio, weather apps, phone alerts, no weather radio, but the Weather Service has so much more that encompasses it. Radar, satellite, weather balloons, ground ops, lightning detection, stream gauges on rivers. We do impact decision-based support to people, local officials. We have the river forecast centers that do river forecasts, hydropower, flood warnings, irrigation, river navigation. We have the National Centers for Environmental Protection, NCEP, that does the model simulations. We have space weather, climate and seasonal outlooks, the Storm Prediction Center, the National Hurricane Center. All that stuff is all encompassed in the National Weather Service. Our team structure is basically in every office, this is what you have. You have a meteorologist in charge. You have a warning coordination meteorologist as the liaison and does outreach and events and education. You have the science and operations officer that does the training and research. You have an ESA that maintains the equipment. We have lead forecasters, general forecasters, a hydrologist, observation program leader, electronic technicians, IT, an information technology officer, and an ASA administrative support assistant. So that is your whole structure of each National Weather Service office. This is how you find us online, on X at NWS Jackson, at NWS Jackson MS, and YouTube, and our forecast page here. So that's how you find our information online. Please follow us. Please take the time to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and check out our website. We have lots of useful information on there that will be of assistance to you. So why is this very important for us in Mississippi to realize what we got going on? If you look at this map, this is the annual average tornado watches per year for over the last 20 years. And what sticks out like a sore thumb is central and southern Mississippi. We have the most annual average tornado watches per year. Okay, we have at least 12 to 13, maybe even up to 14 watches per year across Mississippi. Last year, we had 81 tornadoes reported, 391 severe weather reports, 77 severe hail reports. So we get severe weather frequently, year round, all the time here in Mississippi. So you need to be aware. Okay, the tornado frequency has been increasing across Mississippi over the last 50 years. So this shows on this left hand column shows the average tornado days over the last 50 years on the top. This is from 1951 to 1985. This is from 86 to 2020. And this is the percent change of tornado days right here. This is the path length from 1951 to 85, 86 to 2020, and the change. So what you see here from 1951 to 1985 is you see the traditional tornado alley across Oklahoma. But if you look, and from 1986 to 2020, the bullseye is right over Mississippi over the last 50 years, or over the last 30 to 40 years. So some people can say that tornado alley has shifted, or I think we're just seeing more frequent ones here. And also, not to mention, we're also seeing the more long track tornadoes, which long track tornadoes are stronger across Mississippi. As you can see, this was from the 1950s to the 85, and now you see the concentration of those stronger tornadoes being across the Mississippi and Alabama. So we have to be prepared for tornadoes and do more educating of citizens in Mississippi to prepare for this type of disaster across the Deep South. So that is why it is important. Now, Skywarn is a concept developed in the late 1960s that was intended to promote a cooperative effort between National Weather Service and communities. Skywarn is not a club or an organization, but some areas, emergency management programs do not perform function. People have organized the Skywarn groups that work independent of a parent government agency that feed value information to the National Weather Service. So Skywarn is very important for us to get reports. So what a spotter is: a spotter is a person that observes the weather, that communicates the weather, stays safe, and they play a critical role in help the National Weather Service and local officials. What a spotter is not: a weather expert. You're not a weather expert. We aren't teaching you how to storm chase, although most storm chasers are spotters, and we appreciate what they do. But this is not what we're advocating as people going out to chase. You're not above the law. If you go out there and chase, you can't be running running lights and things, and you're not immune to the laws of physics, i.e., it's very dangerous. You can go outside, run into a tornado. So we just want everybody to be a spotter. That means stay in your spot, look at the weather for where you are. We don't encourage you to go out and chase storms. So the value of storm spotters: they produce valuable ground truth to what we may or may not be seeing underneath the storm. They're critical to the warning decision process, and they can add value to the warning. So what we see when we look at a radar is the upper and mid levels of a storm. What you can see is the lower level. So that's the business end, I like to say, of a storm is at the bottom. So when we get our radar, we only see the mid and upper levels, and that's what this is. The device sees this. It's called reflectivity off of radar. This is what we see. And this is what you can see. Say, oh, there's a tornado there. So you guys give us a call, and we can say, oh, okay, there's a tornado. Let's ramp this warning up. Let's ramp this warning down, whatever the case may be. So the radar sends out a pulse. It hits whatever scatterer there is, and it reflects energy back. That's why we call it reflectivity. We have dual pole radars that send a vertical and a horizontal field wave that uses two different ways that we can tell us to use the idea of the shape and orientation of objects in the atmosphere. And that plays a pretty important role that lets us know what is actually in the atmosphere. And I'll let you in on a little bit of stuff on that. Radar limitations. The radar limitations are it can't see near the ground. And as you uh, go further out, the radar beam starts to lift up into the air and the curvature of the earth. So you start hitting higher and higher up in the atmosphere, so you start to see less and less of the business end of the storm. So that is why it is very important for you guys. The public is more likely to heed a National Weather Service warning when the uh, warnings plus ground truth equals public action. We want people to take action and to remain safe. Okay, so this is what we want from you guys. I always say that this could be the entire uh, presentation is this one slide. This is all we want from people. We want to know what time did it occur, the location, where it was. If you're unsure of the location, give us a nearby intersection or landmark. We'll help. We'll figure it out. What condition are you reporting, and the source of who you are. And here are the things that we want. We want to know about wind damage, uprooted or downed trees, large branches being brought down, wires, power lines, or infrastructure being damaged, and please include photos if possible. Okay? We want to know about hail, hail of any size, because with any size hail, we can tell if the storm is strengthening or weakening due to the size of hail. Please measure the hail with a ruler or common object for accurate sizing. I always like to tell people if you have a quarter, put the quarter in your palm of your hand next to the hail and take a picture and send it to us. The reason why we say use a quarter because the quarter size is the criteria for severe thunderstorm warnings. Um, Once you have hail of quarter size, that is when it's called severe. So that's why we like to see it next to a quarter because we can see if it's severe. If it's bigger than a quarter, we can say for sure it's severe. If it's smaller than a quarter, we can say, okay, it's smaller, but do we expect this to continue to grow? And if it continues to grow, we can proactively issue a severe thunderstorm warning. So that's why we want to know the size of any hail. Tornadoes and funnel clouds, we want to see a visible rotation in the wall cloud or funnel cloud, or if you see a tornado, please let us know. And flooding, any significant, i.e., uncommon flooding, water over roads, streams rising to near bank full, and please include photos if possible. We all know that there's places in our communities that flood every time it rains. We want to know about things that are not common, or if it's the common spot, is it much more severe than it normally is? So that's what we want to know from you guys, okay? So we want you guys to monitor the timeline, monitor the hazards. I like to teach ready, set, go. Be ready with, we have hazards, weather outlooks, and briefings that we do on our webpage and Facebook hazards over the next week, and SPC convective outlooks. We put those out on our page every day. And if we have problems on the horizon, just go check our pages that we said, Twitter, Facebook, and our webpage, and you'll be in the loop. We generally have those out several days in advance. Okay. When we get to the set stage, is the watch phase. That means conditions are favorable for severe weather, severe thunderstorms, tornadoes, flash flood. The watch means conditions are favorable for. That means you should be set. It means start thinking about what you're supposed to be doing. Have plans together for a safe space. Okay. The warning is when you need to go. Take action. That means the conditions are imminent or occurring. That means you got severe thunderstorm, which is 1 inch hail or 58 mile an hour winds. We either have a tornado or we have flash flooding. Okay. So when you get the warning, that means go to your safe spot. Okay. You guys have probably seen these before about severe thunderstorm category outlooks. You know, from 1 to 5, marginal, slight, enhanced, moderate, high. This is put out by the Storm Prediction Center. They're out of Norman, Oklahoma, and these are all probabilistic, but these are the categories that you hear about severe thunderstorms and their possibilities. So we have 1s and 2s a lot. 3, 4, and 5 are less likely or less frequent, but they're more severe. I like to tell people once you get into days 4 and 5 types, those are the types of days where your life are significantly more in danger. Um, Storms will produce very large hail damaging winds and tornadoes. On a high risk day, many storms will produce damaging tornadoes, winds, very large hail. If you see this right here, it says very intense storms that you might experience only once or twice in a lifetime. Well, we happen to live in Mississippi and we get this several times in a lifetime, but that just lets you know to what extent these storms could be. March 15th of this year, we had a high risk day and that's when we had those long track severe tornadoes come through southeast Mississippi, through Collins and Tylertown and up through Hot Coffee and those parts of the county warning area. And so these were EF3s and EF4s, and that was a high risk day. And we had some people lose their lives that day. So it's a day 4 and 5 days. So that's what we're talking about. So the categories are built in like probabilistic of chances of seeing a tornado or wind or hail from 25 miles from a given point. So on a high risk day, you have a 30 to 60% chance of seeing a tornado within 25 miles of your location. Okay. So to put that in context, the likelihood of seeing a tornado on any given day is like less than 1% or probably near zero. But on those high risk days, you have a 1 in 3 chance of seeing a tornado, or even up to a 2 in 3 chance of seeing a tornado within 25 miles of your position, right? So that's a significant, you know, thing to be aware of. Okay. So watches again are severe thunderstorm watches contains many counties issued by Storm Prediction Center. They're in effect around 4 to 10 hours, and it means conditions are favorable for severe weather. And that nearly covers portions of states, lots of counties. Okay. Warnings or severe thunderstorm tornado warnings are issued for parts of a county. They're these little polygons. These are issued by local National Weather Service office in effect for 1 hour or less. That means severe weather is imminent or occurring. These are put out by actual people sitting at the radar, making these polygons and sending them out. They're not computer generated, computer assisted. They're not AI. It's real people putting these out. Okay. We have several different types of warnings. Radar indicated warnings are your baseline warnings. I mean, radar indicated tornado, indicated rotation. So we think that there's a tornado within this storm. You can see this is a classic hook echo with some rotation right here. Then we go up to a radar observed tornado. How do you observe a radar? How do you observe a tornado on radar? Remember, I was talking about dual pole. Now, dual pole helps us see the particles in the atmosphere and what sizes there are. So this bottom right-hand corner is what we call correlation coefficient. You notice that everything around here is red. That means everything is uniform. But you see this blob of green and blue. That means that this is something different than the uniform pieces around it, particles around it. And so it coincides with a rotation and a hook echo. So what can throw large items that are not uniform up into the air on planet Earth happens to be a tornado, right? So that's how we are getting these radar observed or radar confirmed tornadoes, is that we can look into our radar and say, okay, what is this line up? This lined up with circulations, lines up with a hook echo. We have lots of scatterers that are abnormal, that are not like the same. So we can infer that there's a tornado on the ground. Okay. Same thing with the tornado emergency. This is the highest one that we can do is tornado emergency for locations along the path of a tornado. Confirmed large, violent, extremely dangerous tornado located 4 miles, southeast. Damage threat catastrophic. Okay. This is when we know that there's a large tornado coming down your street, and we will issue these. This means you have to take cover or your life is very much in danger. Okay. So watch is be prepared, have a plan to take shelter. Warning is to take action and seek shelter immediately. We'll go through a few ingredients that we need from thunderstorms really quick. I like to teach the SLIM method. You got shear, is the turning of the winds of the atmosphere to help maintain and organize severe storm activity. You have lift. You need some sort of lifting mechanism to get the moist, unstable air to rise upward to create the clouds and thunderstorms and generate the thunderstorms. You need to have instability, is the ability for air to rise and sink measured in potential energy. So that's like the fuel for the storms. And you got to have moisture that's needed to produce the clouds and potential thunderstorms. So you need all of these ingredients to get severe thunderstorms. You can have storms and things without one of these sometimes, but in order to get real live thunderstorms, you need to have all these things in place. You can have weak shear, but you can't have, you can have weak shear and have thunderstorms, but you're not going to get severe thunderstorms with weak shear. You got to have some sort of lifting mechanism. That's the only way you're going to get storms to rise, right? You got to have some sort of fuel for the storms to feed off of, and you have to have moisture in the atmosphere to coalesce and make the clouds. So these are the four ingredients that you have to get thunderstorms. Okay, severe thunderstorms. All thunderstorms contain heavy rain, lightning, and strong winds. Thunderstorms are considered severe only when only one of the following happen. They're only claimed as severe if you have inches 1 hail of diameter or greater, winds of 50 mile per hour or 58 miles per hour or greater, or a tornado. Those are the only things that can make a storm severe. Storms are not severe classified by their lightning. They're not classified by heavy rain. Uh, that doesn't matter why it's called severe. Severe is based on the presence of 1 inch hail or greater, wind gusts of 58 miles per hour or greater, or tornadoes. Okay. There's different types of thunderstorms. We have squall lines. We've seen these before. These are groups of storms arranged in line and accompanied by squalls of high wind and rain. They pass quickly, or less prone to produce tornadoes than supercells are. So we do get tornadoes in these squall lines, but they're generally quick spin ups, and they're not necessarily the same process as a big supercell, big honking tornado. These can be hundreds of miles long, but are typically only 10 to 20 miles wide. So they're kind of elongated in area, but width, they're only maybe 10 to 20 miles wide. So the thing is about a squall line, they are quick hitters most of the time. They come in, you're going to get the strong winds at the beginning of it, and then it starts to wind down and it over pretty soon. Okay. You got supercells. A supercell refers to a thunderstorm that possesses a rotational updraft called a mesocyclone. On radar, these resemble a kidney bean shape. Remember, I told you about that classic hook echo right here. And supercells produce tornadoes. These are your ones that are going to produce your prolific tornadoes. As you can see, it's kind of a kidney bean shape. And it's that hook echo that means that there's actual rotation. The rain is being wrapped around this central location. And this little ball here is where your tornado will be found, okay? On the end of the hook echo, generally is where your tornado is going to be found, okay? So that's why we call it a hook echo, because it's kind of hooked around, and then you have the tornado possible right through here, okay? Lightning. Seek shelters indoors immediate. Avoid being the tallest object. Be aware of the warning signs. Most victims are killed by the first or last lightning strike. When thunder roars, go indoors, please. Lightning is very dangerous. Flash flooding, we just had the big flash flood event in Texas. Never drive through the unknown depth of water. The road might not be intact below. Only 6 inches of swift moving water can sweep a person off their feet. 12 inches of water can float many cars, and once the car is buoyant, it will more than likely slip. So water is very dangerous. Be careful around the water. I can't say that nearly enough. Okay. Hail is dangerous too. Large hail can break windows and cause bodily harm. Half-inch hail falls at near 20 miles per hour. 3-inch hail falls nearly 100 miles an hour. Hail can beat you up. Okay. Lots of hail can turn to roads, into skating rinks, or clogged drainage systems. So hail is also dangerous. Tornadoes. Okay. A tornado is a violently rotating column of air extended from the base of a thunderstorm down to the ground. Tornadoes usually produce a very small and defined area of damage, swath, or path. Tornadoes can occur day or night, any time of the year, and they have been reported in all 50 states. One in 10,000 storms produce a tornado. Okay. This particular video is the Jonesboro tornado. There's going to be a tornado that appears right over here in a few seconds that goes from, barely there it is, barely there to a big EF3 tornado by the time it gets here. You saw how quick that developed, okay? So when we issue these tornado warnings, this is why we say conditions can change quickly and rapidly. You saw how rapidly that tornado developed. So we had a warning out, and now you can see the tornado getting thicker and bigger. You'll see a power flash here in a second. There you go. And so that was an EF3 tornado that moved through Jonesboro, Arkansas. Again, these things happen quickly. So when we say there's a tornado warning, we really mean take cover because it could come out of quote unquote nowhere. We knew it was there, that the possibility was there. So that's why we put out a warning. Please take heed of the warnings. It may not happen this quick all the time, but the possibility is there for it to occur. And that's why we say you have to take heed of the warnings. Okay. This is just a really cool picture that we had from March 15th of this year. We actually had 2 tornadoes cross out in the woods in Covington County within an hour, an hour from each other. Okay. You had one tornado that came through here around 1:39, and then 2:20 p.m. you had another tornado go this way. And so we actually found the crossing point of these 2 tornadoes in the woods where that's what we do. That's part of my job, is to go out and do storm surveys and survey the damage. So we were able to go out, get a picture of where these 2 tornadoes crossed. So that just lets you know the type of day it was on March 15th. Again, that was a high risk day. And we said on high risk days, you have anywhere between 30 and 60% chance of seeing a tornado within 25 miles. These people saw 2 come within their area within an hour. So that's the type of stuff we're talking about. Okay. Tornado safety. The number one tornado hazard is debris. Seek shelter inside a sturdy building on the lowest floor, well away from windows. Have a helmet, shoes, flashlight, and whistle in your safe place. You need a whistle in order to keep yourself alert people if you're buried under rubble. Make a noise so people can hear you. You need flashlights. You need shoes to protect your feet, and a helmet to protect your head from blunt force trauma. Mobile homes are not safe. If you're driving, pull off on the roadway and find a nearby building. If there's not a sturdy building, get in the ditch and get down and cover up. Okay. So, sheltering guidelines. The worst options are mobile homes and vehicles. If you're in a mobile home, please make arrangements prior to go to a sturdy building or somebody else's house. Go to a family member's house. Have a way to get out and go there. And I say, once the watch comes out for a tornado watch, go to your safe spot then, because once the warning comes out, it'll be too late. So we advise people to go, if they're living in mobile homes, to have a plan to go somewhere well before that happens. A step up is large rooms like gymnasium. These are still bad options for any type of manufactured housing. Good options are interior room of a well-constructed home or building, or a basement. We don't have many basements here in Mississippi, but we do have a lot of well-constructed homes and buildings that need to be an interior room. The best option is an above or below ground tornado shelter. Those are few and far between, unless you have one, at your house. But the best thing is a well-constructed building, interior room of your home or basement. The reason why I say this is going to be held up the most is because a lot of our tornadoes are EF2 or less. Okay. And you can really survive an EF2 or less home damage in a home. Because once you start getting up to 3, 4, and 5, that's a little bit harder. But like 90% of our tornadoes are EF2 and less. So that would provide coverage for most everybody all the time. Okay. So why the lowest floor? Is this the same house as before and after? You can see the top floor comes off, but even on the top floor, you see the interior part of the top floor still remained intact. So that's why we say an interior building, an interior room, middle of the building. Okay. Mobile home and tornado safety. 72% of all tornado fatalities occur in mobile homes. Occur in homes. 54% of the housing fatalities occur in mobile homes, but that only makes up 6% of the housing stock. So a lot of these deaths, or not all of them, but a majority of the deaths that happen in homes occur with mobile homes. Okay. Mobile homes, again, are not safe. Mississippi has a high concentration of mobile homes. Make plans ahead of time to stay with friends or families who live in uh, regular, site-built homes. Um, your last resort is get out and lie on a ditch and covering your head. But we encourage people to have a plan. Like a couple days before, you're going to hear about the weather being bad and over, whatever day it is. You're going to have some time to be able to make choices. We want you to make a choice and have a plan in place so you can be safe. So this is why I say this is EF2, same tornado, mobile home on your left, uh, interior rooms or a well-built home on your right. You can see the damage discrepancy, and that is where um, it's important. So I'm gonna add a little things on hurricane season and a little social media on the back end of this. But this is our seasonal outlook for this year. We've already had a couple storms. We had Chantal across North Carolina this past weekend. And here's our probability of seeing above normal. We're expecting 13 to 19 named storms, 6 to 10 hurricanes, 3 to 5 major hurricanes. So we already had Andrea. Barry, the remnants of Barry, actually was the reason why we had the Texas flood this past weekend. Chantal is the reason why we had the North Carolina flood. If you didn't know about that, go to the news. They had major flooding with Chantal across Raleigh, Durham, and areas across Chapel Hill in North Carolina. So we've already had 3 named storms. We're on the D storm in Dexter. So Dexter, Aaron, Ferdinand, Gabriel, and Berto. You can see the names. So that's what we got coming up for the rest of the year. Let's talk a smidge about social media. Um, Pretty videos will always win. I'm telling you this because the media and social media, there's a lot of things out there that will grab your eye. Um, just be aware of where you get your weather information from. Okay. This is something that not this is something that New Orleans did was they put different pictures on their thumbnails to see what got the most views, and the ones that had sort of a shocking or really um, tying shocking headline got the most views because it made it look like clickbait. So people like to click on the pretty picture. So this one was made to look like clickbait, and they got that many views versus that. So how to know a page is not reputable? If they use all caps for almost every post, if they frequently post weather model output suggestion or verify, they often post things that aren't even weather related. Um, don't reshare the information. If you're on social media, type in National Weather Service New Orleans or Jackson or National Hurricane Center. If online, go to weather.gov or follow your favorite broadcast meteorologist. Okay. So when you're out there getting your weather information, please make sure you're getting it from a reputable source. So, like I said, do seeing any of these things help you make a decision? It doesn't. Um, just imagine you're trying to make a decision with all these models. This is the stuff that we look at all the time, and we're gonna sway through this for you and give you the best case, best forecast. So if you see something, you can make poor decisions and you can believe something that is not even there. Because a lot of times these models will put out hurricanes in the Gulf of Mexico every 2 weeks, and it's going to be a Category 5 moving to Tampa, New Orleans, Mobile, the Gulf Coast all the time. They're always there. You can count it any time of this, any part of this year. There's always a hurricane coming, but we all know that that's not true. Every 2 weeks we have a hurricane. Okay, so that's what we do. We're the ones to help you make those decisions. We wade through that and make sure you guys have that. We'll never hide a hurricane from you. Okay, so another thing that we talk about is the cone. The cone is not an impact cone. It is a cone of just the track. Okay. The track of the cone represent the most likely center of the storm. No forecasted impacts. They're created by imaginary circles that represent 2/3 of the average track area over the past 5 years. So that means that 2/3 of the time the path is going to be outside of that cone. Okay. That means 33% of the time it's going to be out of the cone to the left, 33% of the time it's going to be out of the cone to the right, and 33% is going to be in the cone. Okay. That doesn't mean that's exactly where it's going. The cone is just percentages. Okay. The cone doesn't tell you about impacts. Okay. So that was just a really brief crash course on the tropical thing because I really wanted to make that because that's that time of year. Now, let's talk about weather radio. Please have a weather radio. Okay. These can save your lives in the middle of the night. Okay. These are all hazard radios that will alert you when you're sleeping or any time of the day. They're roughly 30 to 40 bucks. You get them off Amazon, Walmart, Target, whatever. Get you a NOAA all hazards weather radio. You'll be able to put your county in and you'll connect to one of these transmitters and it'll give you the warnings any time of the day. Okay. Have multiple ways to receive a warning. Local weather, NOAA weather radio, local TV and radio, WIA, wireless emergency alerts, wireless alerts, internet sites, word of mouth. Outdoor sirens are for people outside. They're not for you in your house. Don't expect to hear a siren every time a warning is put out. I actually encourage people don't even count on sirens because you can't count on them. They're for people outside. No weather radio and your WIA are going to be your best bets to get your warnings. Okay, the wireless emergency alerts come through your phone through the FCC, but we trigger them though. You will always get a tornado warning. You get flash flood warnings when they're considerable or catastrophic. You get severe thunderstorms when they're considered destructive. You always get hurricane warnings, tsunamis, typhoons, et cetera, et cetera. You also get amber alerts and things like that, but we want you guys to have them for these weather alerts. Okay. So these are how you enable them on Android. You go to notifications, advanced settings, wireless emergency alerts, severe threats. And this is how you do it on iPhone. You go to notifications, scroll all the way to the bottom, and you have your government alerts. Okay. That's how we do that. Here's a few mobile research resources to get some warnings and such from FEMA, Red Cross apps for disaster preparedness. Here's a disaster preparedness kit. Be sure to have first aid kit, helmet, whistle, your cash money, prescriptions, cell phones, things for your pets, important documents in your emergency preparedness kit. Okay. So again, storm reports. This is what we're looking for. Wind damage, uprooted or downed trees, large branches, wireless down, damaged infrastructure, hail of any size. Please measure the hail. Visible rotation in a wall cloud, frontal cloud, or tornado. Any significant or uncommon flooding, water over roads, streams rising to near bank full. We want to know what time it occurred, where it occurred, the condition you're reporting, and who you are. Okay, that's what we want to know from you guys. This is how you report this to us. We have that unlisted number right there. The best place to get us is on Facebook or Twitter at NWS Jackson MS. And you can also submit a storm report on our webpage at weather.gov/jan/submit a storm report. Okay. So I'll wrap it up with that. I got it into 45 minutes, so we had that time to have the question and answer sessions. I wanted to make sure we got it under the hour. I was kind of flying through it, but I wanted to make sure I respect everybody's time. So thank you guys.
Thank you, Michael. If you have any questions about the data or graphics that Michael presented or the Storm Spotters program itself, please drop those questions in the chat. I guess I can kick it off with a question while everyone else is typing their question in the box. So, Michael, to be a storm spotter, do you need any special equipment?
No,
Okay.
no. Uh, with storm spotting, so we do have storm spotter training. Of course, this really wasn't a storm spotter training. This was kind of like a really surface touch on it, and I kind of wanted to put more safety and preparedness in it. But we have these spotter trainings where I'll go more in depth about It's like generally an hour, hour and a half, a depth about what to see in the clouds, different types of formations, what we were really looking for. I gave you what we were really looking for, but I'll give you more information about meteorology and more in depth and what more in depth things to look for. So no, you don't need any kind of special equipment. You just need your eyes and a way to give us the reports, and you should be able to do that for us. But be on the lookout on our Facebook page or web pages. So we have these spotter trainings periodically all around the state in different counties, and we'll let you know.
Okay. And are storm spotters expected to share a report during every severe weather event, or is it just if they see something of particular concern?
We would like people to report all the time because, or every time we have a storm event. Um, but you're not obligated to do anything. This is all volunteer. This is all if you see something, if you feel like you want to tell us, that's great. There's no pressure to do it. So we just need the reports because, again, like I said, it really helps us with our warnings. It helps us with ground truth. It helps us uh, communicate to the public and everybody say, hey, this actually is putting down a tornado. You really need to take this seriously. We have spotters that said, oh, I see a tornado is putting down damage. It's, destroyed this house, it's destroyed this, and it's moving this away. That's why we need people. We just need people to help us ground truth our warnings, and it helps us wordsmith better warnings and uh, highlight the real threats to people downstream.
Okay. And we have a question from Michael Brindle in the Q&A box. And he asked, you mentioned the NOAA handheld radio available on Amazon. Would that work for Southern California?
So the handheld radios, I don't think they're the same thing. You need the radio that are like the little box. They're like white. In fact, let me see. The handheld ones don't necessarily. Um, I'm not sure. Some of them might have them with the that connect to the weather transmitter and that does the alert. But I do know that these smaller one, these white Midland or whatever radios that are connected to the wall, uh, those are the ones that will trigger your warnings with the same codes, and those would work for anywhere in the country. So when you get those radars, you'll go through the programming of the radio. It'll say what state you're in, and it'll be like, so for instance, you're in California, you put in whatever state you're in, whatever county you're in, and it automatically knows the code. And so anytime you get a warning for your county, the not the radar, the radio will alert you to say, hey, in Southern California, X county has a fire weather watch or whatever it is. So that's what you should be able to do. So it'll automatically know where you are, and it knows the codes, and it'll connect to the correct transmitter, and you'll be set up to go.
Right, awesome. And Michael said he will look for that Midland monitor.
Thank you.
I have another question. So, is it possible for someone to set up a Skywarn class in their community? And if so, how should they go about doing that?
Yes, there is a way. We generally work through the emergency managers to set those up for each county or community. If you want to request one, reach out to your emergency manager and have them get in contact with your local weather service office. For us, Mississippi, or in my county warning area, you get in touch with me. Have your person get in touch with me, and I'll set it up with them, and then we'll have a Skywarn spotter training in your area. Other parts of the country, just go to your local, find out who your local emergency manager is. Have that local emergency manager reach out to the local National Weather Service, and they should be able to set up your community spotter training.
Okay. And are there additional training opportunities for Skywarn? Like, are there advanced levels, or is it just the standard class?
There are some places do an advanced. We have an advanced class. It's not really. It's kind of like the basic, but it's got a little extra stuff in it. That's what it is. We'll do a little bit more in depth on radar interpretation, a little bit more in depth on some other things, but there are different levels. You have basic and advanced spotter training, um, and these things might vary around the country. Okay, uh, some offices are much more thorough. Some offices are more preparedness, more safety. So it just depends on your local office. But we do have two levels here at Jackson.
Okay. And so do I need to take a Skywarn class every year, every couple of years, or is it a one and done thing?
It can be one and done, but we like to keep people, we could say every so often you should do it because if there's any kind of new criterias or new ways, new things that we can share with you guys. But it's really a one and done thing. Once you know the cloud formations and know things like that, uh, you can kind of spot everything, right? So that's what we tell people to do. But I would say every other year, every 2 years, you should probably take it just to have a refresher. So that's just my opinion.
Okay. And remember, if you have any questions about those graphics or that data that Michael included in his presentation, definitely drop that in the Q&A box. Michael, will that is it possible for that PowerPoint to be available to the public following this?
Sure.
Okay, alrighty. Maybe we can put it on the Vortex SE website or NWS. We'll talk about it. So once the Storm Spotter class is completed, do participants get a certificate or how does that work?
You can get a certificate if you need one. We do offer certificates. Again, this varies between offices. Some offices do certificates, some offices don't. Some offices do spotter numbers, identifications, and can maintain a big database. I don't do that because that is a lot of people to maintain. It's a big database. Once you start getting several hundred people, and again, it's all volunteer. So people come to the training and then they don't participate anymore. They might move away or whatever the case may be. So we just really like to um, inform as many people as we can about what to look for, and if they feel inclined to help us out, send us the information. That's where I am as a WCM and how I run my program. Like I said, some people are way more like structured, but for me, it's like, hey, we just need the reports. Help us out. There's no pressure. Uh, we can give you a certificate if you do. If you want one, if you don't, that's fine. We just need the reports, and we just want to have people aware of what they're looking at and how to stay safe and help us, keep other people safe.
All righty, perfect. So if you have any other questions, if you think of something after this webinar, I'm going to put my information and Michael's information in the chat box, just in case you want to reach out. We will also send out an email including the extension publication once it's ready to go, and the recording of this webinar once it's posted to YouTube. So be on the lookout for that. Also, make sure you check in frequently with the National Weather Service website. Check in to see what's events are going on. If there's any new information you need to know, take a look at the graphics and data like what Michael showed today. And also keep up with the Vortex SE outreach and engagement page on the Mississippi Alabama Sea Grant Consortium page. We have some events coming up. We have recently started our Train the Trainer program where we are sharing our WeatherWise curriculum with librarians and other volunteers in the communities throughout the state, throughout Mississippi and Alabama, who want to lead workshop sessions. So be on the lookout for that. We have one coming up in the fall. The details will be released soon. So you want to make sure you're in touch with us on our website, and make sure you subscribe to that YouTube channel. speaking of the YouTube channel, we just posted our most recent webinar on the utilization of social media during severe weather events. Go check that out. And this again, you'll receive this recording, you'll receive this information. Do we have any last minute questions in the chat? Anyone? All righty. Well, it looks like we are heading out a little bit earlier. Michael, did you want to add anything else?
No, thank you guys for participating, and again, just stay weather aware. We want to make sure everybody stays safe. So reach out if you need anything. Thank you.
Yes, and if you're in the Mississippi, Alabama, or Oklahoma area and you would like to organize a WeatherWise workshop in your community, please reach out to me and I will put you in touch with the person you need to speak to make that happen in your community. Thank you all so much for joining us, and be on the lookout for the link to the extension publication and the recording. Thank you so much for joining us. All righty.